Hello, welcome to the Chirp YouTube channel. My name is Christy, and I am your friendly online speech-language pathologist and specialist in children's communication development, which includes behavior, because behavior is a type of communication. Today, we are going to talk about another thing we can work on during play, another simple strategy for improving interaction, which I'm doing a little playlist on right now, a little series that you can find right there. And today I want to talk about empathy. Empathy has been a little bit in the news. There have been some politicians saying that empathy is a bad thing, that empathy is a sin. But empathy is not a sin. Empathy is not a bad thing. We can choose what we do with our empathy, but we should be able to empathize with every other human being to some degree. Children with developmental delays, especially autism spectrum disorders, often have more difficulty putting themselves in someone else's shoes. They have difficulty, many times, not always, with something called theory of mind. I'm going to put a definition of theory of mind right here. You can pause and read that if you like. The basics are that it's difficult for some children with certain neurological differences to be able to see the world from someone else's point of view. It doesn't mean that they cannot do this. It means that it's something that requires more effort for them. And we need to be making that effort. We need to be making the effort to help them learn how to see things from someone else's perspective. We cannot have a healthy emotional life, a healthy functional adult life, relationships with other humans that are successful and enjoyable if we can't see what it's like to be another human being. It's very important. We see problems all around us in the typical adult sphere because people cannot see things from someone else's perspective, because grown adults do not have the ability, or they do not choose to exercise their ability to look at things from a little bit different perspective, to be flexible in their thinking. But neurologically, it's very important to be able to be flexible. Relationally, it's very important to be able to think as if you were in someone else's situation. One of the ways we do this is that we expand our circles. One of the ways I do this, I practice this, is to have friends who are different from me. That's a difficult thing in this world. When I have friends who are different in race or politics or financial situation or education or marital status, when I have friends who have kids and I don't, then I learn more about what it's like to be those people, and I care more because I love them. And when I love someone, I care about their life and their situation and the things they care about. So we do want to expose our children to lots of different kinds of people wherever we can, because it's helpful. And we want to talk about some of the differences in our lives and how it might feel to be that person and have that thing happen to us, instead of just having all people who are exactly like us. Although I know that's difficult. It's something to strive for. Another way we can work on this is in play, which is my favorite way, because we all can play. I know it does take some time, but raising children takes time. I'm sorry to tell you. Surprise, it takes time. You have to actually spend time with your children if you want them to learn stuff and if you want to have a relationship with them. So the next time we get out the cars or the playhouse or the play kitchen, I want you to create personalities, as I have discussed in the last couple of videos. You can see the last one right there. When you're finished with this one, you can go back and watch the whole playlist if you wish. A lot of these easy skills for improving interaction are in play. They are play-based. So this is another one, another way we can work on a good, important skill in play. Let's assume we are playing with, let's say, construction workers. Let's say we have a construction worker set, we have a bulldozer, we have a backhoe, we have some ladders, we have some little dudes with their hard hats and their boots. Let's say we have a little construction set with some little construction people in their hard hats and their boots. We have some ladders, we have a backhoe, we have a cherry picker and some other kinds of diggers and scoopers and things, and some cones. Road cones, of course, are very important for construction crews. Maybe some signage. Anyway, this is what we're going to be playing with today. These are very fun sets if you can find them. I am going to have my person get hurt. My person's going to fall off the ladder, not too high up. We don't want anyone hurt for real, for long term, like injured and paralyzed. My person falls off the ladder and I say, ow, ow, ow. And probably the child I'm playing with is going to maybe ignore that or say, oh no, doctor. And usually that does not happen. Usually it is me who suggests the doctor. However, in this case, I'm just going to go, ow, ow, ow. And the child is maybe going to ignore that. Then I'm going to bring another person. My person is lying on the ground hurt after falling off the ladder. I'm going to bring another person over and I'm going to say, oh, and I'm going to take my person right in front of the child's person and say, how do you think he feels? He fell off the ladder. And let's say the child probably still won't respond. I'll say, I think he feels sad and scared. Scared and sad. And then I will ask the child, what should we do? We have to help our friend. And then we will call the doctor and we will get him taken care of and he'll be able to come back to work. Usually when I create a scenario like this that is interesting and kind of out of the ordinary when it comes to construction work, hopefully it's out of the ordinary for construction work for people to get hurt, but definitely out of the ordinary for how we play construction worker, I have added a new complexity. Usually the child wants to do it again because it's unusual and the child is not quite sure what to do with this new thing that I've introduced. And so she or he wants to repeat it. Try it again. Let me get this in my head. Let me see how this really works. And so maybe I'm digging, and I hurt my wrist. And my person lies down on the ground, and I pretend I'm the person. And then I, point to the person. And then my other person comes over and says, oh no, maybe my person is the boss, the foreman. Is that what you call him, a foreman? I'm so proud of myself. And comes over to the child's person. What happened? He looks like he's in pain. What happened? How do you think he feels? This is another good situation where we can get visuals involved. We could and should have some visuals around, especially if we're working on empathy, on experiencing just the tiniest bit of what someone else might be feeling and understanding their feeling. And we can even have the chart posted right by where we're going to be playing. And it should say feelings. It should have feelings and then pictures with the feelings. It should look something like this. I have a lot of them in the box below the video that you can pick from if you are looking for one. You can also make your own using something like Board Maker or one of the other online line drawing visual creative software systems. I use Board Maker, but I also have charts like the one that I showed you that I use when we're working on this skill. So we can point sad, scared, angry, And of course, we need to have interpersonal things that happen when we are working on empathy. So I can have the boss yell at my person, "You aren't fast enough. You need to be faster." And then my person can cry. And maybe run away and hide a little bit. And then a foreman can say to the child's person, "How is he feeling? Did I make him feel sad?" And maybe the guy can be angry, and I say, "Did I make him feel angry by yelling at him? Oh no, I should say sorry." We can also model resolution when we are playing these interpersonal emotion and empathy games. It is very important for kids to learn how to solve interpersonal problems as well, and not just interpersonal problems, but excuse me, I've been a little under the weather. Not just the interpersonal ones, but of course the breaking of the leg or the wrist or whatever. They need to know it's time to call the ambulance, or we should call the doctor or take them to the doctor. And when it's an interpersonal problem, we need to talk through with them how we say, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry I yelled at you. That was not nice. You are my friend and I care about you. And I will try not to yell at you anymore." That is how we be friends, and we can teach all these skills through play. Most families, most teachers, most therapists don't take advantage of play. They allow the child to do what the child wants during play, which may be repetitive, which may be not very full of back and forth interaction, which may not be very engaged. But a lot of times we fail to be purposeful in how we interact in play. So I'm here to tell you, be purposeful. Make sure that you are looking at the areas where your child has some weaknesses, and you are deciding that this play session is one where you're going to work on helping your child apologize for things. And you're going to do that by doing things yourself that are wrong and apologizing for them. And you're going to do it over and over and over. And then maybe your child's going to chime in and hit somebody and then say, "I'm sorry, hitting people is not nice. I won't hit you again. I want you to be happy again, and I want us to be friends." And friends don't hit. We are going to think up scripts that we want the child to use when the child is apologizing, when the child is asking, "How does he feel?" We want to teach what faces look like when they are feeling a certain way, like in the chart. A face that is angry usually has angry expression marks and an angry mouth, angry eyes. Usually a person who's sad might be crying or might be making a little sound, ooh, or have the mouth that goes down. A person who is excited has high eyebrows and big eyes. There are signs that we can use that will help us understand other people's emotions and respond to them appropriately. What I am not saying by talking about empathy is that we need to do whatever anyone else wants just because we understand that they have feelings. In my opinion, the purpose of empathy is so that we can show love to people. We can be a better friend, a better family member, not so we can do whatever anyone else wants, but so that we can help people as they need it, and so that we can be loving people in other people's lives. And that's important. We want a society where everyone has empathy for everyone else. Even if we disagree on some things, on how the country should run, on how the classroom should run, even if we disagree on some things, having empathy for each other is a good thing. And it's very important to teach this, especially to our kids who have difficulties with social skills and with emotional management and regulation. So, teach your kids how to see other people's emotions, how to maybe guess and assess how other people are feeling, and then to deal with it in ways that are rational and kind, how to repair relationships, and how to keep friends. That's important. Well then, thank you for being here. I do want to mention at the end of the video that I am the author of a curriculum. If you're not a Jesus person, that's fine. You can kind of tune out right now. But this is for churches and maybe homeschooling families who want to teach their kids who have some developmental delays about spiritual stuff. And church curricula are really not written for, many of them are not really written by educators at all, but many of them are especially not written in a way that speaks to children who have communication delays. So if you're interested in finding out more about that, look below and check out the CHIRP curriculum. I never mentioned this in videos, but I was told I should advertise for myself every once in a while. So there you go. Check out the CHIRP curriculum, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you for being here. Have a great day. Bye.